Welcome back, everyone. Today, I want to share with you 5 of my favorite mechanics in all TTRPGs that's going to help you to flesh out your characters, think about how they're going to react to victories, setbacks, traumas, just little things that can help sprinkle some personality and character development on top of those characters. These mechanics can just be stolen, borrowed, implemented, plonked on top of whatever system you're running with maybe some minor tweaks, and we're going to go through all of them. So without further ado, number 1 is Fabula Ultima. This has a concept called bonds, and you have on your character sheet a bond between you and each other PC in the party. This bond is a simple modifier that can range between +1 and +3. And sometimes, especially when you're doing group skills, you can often add that bond to the skill check. Now, what makes this beautiful is when you start generating your party, at the start you'd have a bond of +1 with most of them, because you presumably know each other already. And of course, as the party goes through more and more together, certain events will help strengthen the bond. Role-playing between characters might increase that to a +2 and a +3 eventually when it's a very tight-knit bond. Now, why this makes perfect sense to me in terms of role-playing is, if you've only just met someone, you've only been adventuring together for a month, you don't have that deep connection where you truly deeply care about them. You're not going to know each other's exact tag team moves in combat or know how they think in order to help them in the optimal way. But if you have a tight bond and you know each other well, that gives you that extra edge. And I think that's beautiful. And as you can see, these bonds have different polar opposites of admiration or inferiority, loyalty or mistrust, affection or hatred. Hatred's generally a bond that you create in this game towards a villain. Hatred towards another party member, probably really not a good pick in this instance. Next up, my favorite TTRPG at the moment, Mothership. Ah yes, the stress mechanic. Every time you fail a roll in Mothership, your stress goes up. Now, the game doesn't ask for rolls often, as it is an old school style game, but the penalty for failing a roll is that your stress level goes up. It starts at 2, which is the minimum, and it goes all the way up to 20. And you'll see here on the table, when you panic, and this is only with big trauma, find something really horrific, one of your close friends dies next to you or falls in combat, you roll the panic die, which is a d20, and you have to roll above your stress. If you roll above your stress, nothing happens. So the higher your stress, the more likely you are to roll under the stress. That creates all sorts of mechanical effects. I'm pointing to the wrong way. It doesn't matter. Mechanical effects. And they add so much flavor to, the character starts getting nightmares now. They've been a little bit rattled by this. You can just make your own table. You just need to add 20 entries. Or if you think like 20 entries sounds like a lot, I'm going to give you a great example from Cloud Empress, which is a adventure module anthology and whole new system built on the Mothership engine. And this only has stress ranging from 0 to 10, or is it 1 to 10? I forgot now. But it has its own unique table, and the entries, as you can see, stresses more the type of story that they want to tell. It's less hardcore horror, like in Mothership, and it's more things about being on a journey and how much you still believe in this journey and how much your heart is still in the fight. And as traumatic things happen and as your stress accumulated, when you fail that panic roll, you can see this really develops character here. Some of these entries are very flavorful. Don't have to mechanically force this on your players, but I think in some types of games, having this stress table can really help facilitate the telling of a richer tale. Just go make your own table with 10 different entries and just use this mechanic. It works beautifully. My next entry is weaknesses from Dragonbane. I love how you define a weakness on your character sheet for your character. It's sort of like some systems call it disadvantages or vices or something of the kind. But we often just generate it during character creation, and then we just proceed to play optimally from there on. It's never really brought back. It's never really reinforced in the game. And I feel Dragonbane does this really well because at the end of the session, you get awarded bonus XP for having accomplished certain things during that session. For instance, defeating a great foe, exploring a new location, just participating in the adventure, and giving in to your weakness. This is beautiful is people at the table, even when it's non-optimal, when they're in a situation where giving into your weakness will get everyone into trouble, they know there's a bit of bonus XP that they can get. It creates rich storytelling and stories about flawed heroes, flawed human beings, be they humans or not, is what makes stories interesting. There's not a single interesting novel where a hero has never done a single thing wrong and they have no demons to wrestle with and they never mess up. We want to see them overcome those weaknesses. And it's great having a weakness defined and giving into it gives you something. You can think of some other bonus. If they give into the weakness, they get advantage on the next roll. It doesn't matter. Go play around with weakness and give players incentives to mess up. It's beautiful when it happens. This next one is subtle, but it's from one of my favorite systems as well, Forbidden Lands. Even though Forbidden Lands is quite a grim and often bleak world that it's set in, it still tries to reinforce a narrative of, even though things are rough out there and you have to do regrettable things, having empathy for other living things is often brought into question through the empathy check. If you're just in combat fighting things and everyone's fighting for their lives, you do not enact this rule. Whereas if you've captured someone, if you take someone's life, a sentient being, in cold blood, or at least attempt to, this person is defenseless. Unlike the murder hobos of all the traditional fantasy games, this game forces you to roll empathy to take this defenseless or innocent person's life. This is where the mechanic is brilliant. Obviously, you can have a very low empathy character, so you'll roll for empathy, you'll do a check. If you fail your empathy, you are able to take that person's life in cold blood. If you succeed at empathy, as in if you're better at empathy, if your character is empathetic, they are more likely to make the empathy check and then they are unable to do it. This is a system that doesn't reinforce violence as the default answer. I mean, just as a side note, if you play an assassin type, there are skills, traits, feats, whatever they call them, you can take one of those where you're able to take lives in cold blood if you want to play that type of assassin character, which fits very well into that world. I really think you can implement this in many of your systems. If you don't have a specific empathy skill, it can maybe be charisma, it can maybe empathy is a useful thing to define just in terms of a number. It can even be 1 to 6. And you just have to roll your empathy or under or something like that to see whether you're able to take a life when it isn't necessary. And this really helps your characters to wrestle with a question, because sometimes you probably have to do it. This person's defenseless, but if you let them go, they're going to kill thousands more. This person's too dangerous to let go. But even though you know this to be true intellectually, if you are a decent person with a heart and with empathy, it's still going to be hard to do that if this person is defenseless. And I love the types of stories that this tells and how much richer and psychologically interesting and poignant it ends up making these decisions of violence. Yes. And last but not least, a mechanic of pride, also from Forbidden Lands, because I like the system so much and this was really well thought out. How pride works in Forbidden Lands is, on your character sheet, you have to find what your pride is as your character, and it can be anything. You just make up a flavorful explanation for the character. I never miss a shot. I'm not afraid of the dark. I protect the innocent. It can be anything like that. Something that defines who they are and that they're proud of. When can I bring the pride in? Whenever I fail a roll, I can evoke my pride. And I have to motivate this to the GM and say, hang on a second, my arrow missed its mark, but I'm proud of, I can hit anything at 30 feet. I'm going to evoke my pride. So what do I do now? I add a die to my attack roll, increasing the chance of it succeeding. If it hits, great, I evoked my pride. I can do that once per session and go, haha, I knew I could do this. But imagine me saying, I'm proud of this. I know my arrow will never miss its mark. And then I miss after evoking my pride. What happens now? I'm a bit gutted, right? Indeed, I have to erase my pride. I staked my personality on that pride and it's failed me, and I have to cross it off. And I have to play an entire session without a pride. But the session after, I can define or pick a new one. This facilitates such rich character growth and powerful character arcs, because as these characters proudly proclaim to be certain things and get on their high horses and become overconfident as they have various victories under their belts, somewhere that pride is going to let them down. They're going to realize the world isn't as simple as they thought. They realized they're not as great at everything as they thought. And when they fail, well, it's not the end of the world. They just have a crisis of conscience, and it's codified there in this great mechanic of erase that pride, play a bit without it, try and find yourself again. And then they'll find something new to go, you know what? It's not about me never missing that shot. It's about me protecting the innocent. And it's about me being service to them. Fantastic. Character growth, new pride. And from there, they'll learn new lessons. I love this mechanic. Go and house rule this, put it into your game. And there you have it, everyone. 5 of my favorite tips to steal, borrow, implement into your games to make your characters richer at the table. By all means, mix and match a bit. Use house rules. Make a Franken system, as they call it. Don't be afraid. Rulebooks are just recipe books, as I said in this video here. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed this content, consider liking, subscribing, sharing. That would be over the top. That would be crazy. I'd love you forever. Anyways, hope you have a great day, all of you, and see you on the next one.